Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever this finds you. Welcome to the 39th Emerging Growth Conference. I'm Anna Berry, and I'll be your host today. As always, we have an exciting list of companies in a wide range of growth sectors presenting to you. Now, remember, all of our conferences, they're uploaded to the Emerging Growth Conference YouTube channel, so please subscribe, youtube.com/Emerging Growth Conference. All right, just a few notes. Today, we're running until about 2:45 p.m. Eastern time. And when we do switch to the next company, you're going to see a black screen for a moment. Don't go anywhere. That's just us moving over. But if you do experience downtime, refresh your browser and everything should work properly again. Now, our platform does work best on Google Chrome. So if you're watching from an Apple device, you have to hit the play button to start the session. During each company's presentation, you can submit questions through our webcast module, and we will attempt to address as many of these as possible at the end of the presentations. One last note. After today's event, you'll be redirected to the registration page for the next conference. So stay on or come back to reserve your spot early. Today, we have 5 companies presenting, so let's jump right in. We have Exceptional Business Services. It trades on the OTC Pink sheets under the symbol XCPL and is a venture development business that leverages its knowledge, skills, and experience in the consumer products industry, whose mission is to provide marketing, technology, and other business services to fast-growing consumer product companies and big box retailers. Please welcome its CEO, Tim Matthews. Good morning, Tim. How are you doing today?
Fantastic. Thanks for the intro. I know that was a mouthful.
No, but that's what we're here for. So the floor is yours, Tim, whenever you're ready. And to all of our attendees, you can start submitting questions whenever you're ready.
All right. Good morning, everyone, and thanks for coming on. Again, my name is Tim Matthews. I'm the CEO of Exceptional Business Services, and this is our company overview. For those of you that don't know me personally, we took this company over back in November. I think we did one of these back in January, February. So we wanted to come back just to kind of give a part 2, an update on where we are. So at a glance, we are a minority-controlled business. As mentioned in the last company overview, there was a lot of cleanup with the business when we took it over, and we're still in the process of just cleaning up and building a revenue-generating business. We have a very strong team from our marketing division to our tech stack to our controller operations. So a very strong team with over 100 years of experience, along with we're still in fundraising mode. So, I know there will be a lot of questions around share structure, authorized shares, Reg A dilution. So hopefully we'll kind of walk through that and answer any questions at the end. And then, hey, we're in OTC Pink, and we deal with a lot of hey, we're getting beat up, which is, that's just part of the, part for the course as far as ensuring shareholder value. And, there are always peaks and valleys in that. So, but we're standing strong. So that's at a glance. Share structure, again, as I say, peaks and valleys. Authorized shares, 750 million. Outstanding shares, 246,000, and very low float and amount of shares held in DTC. Revenue, this is revenue generated from January to September. Most OTC Pinks don't have actual revenue. We have actual revenue, and we'll talk more about that as we move forward with today's presentation. Also wanted to address a couple of things. If you look at where we were on 8/25 when it comes to authorized shares, outstanding shares, and as of 9/9 or to date, there is no shift. There's a lot of questions around, well, why don't you guys report your authorized shares? Why are you not reporting your outstanding shares? Well, that's not our function. This is a function of the transfer agent and OTC. So whenever you guys see, when you're looking at our share structure, there is no movement It's not that the company's hiding anything. It is that we're waiting for the TA and OTC to communicate the latest and greatest when it comes to these variables. So I wanted just to touch on that misconception, because a lot of it, is, hey, these companies are not communicating, they're not transparent. Just for the record, so you guys know, it's a function of the transfer agent and OTC communicating and updating this on a regular basis. Also, we are very visual in looking at, hey, buying and selling trends. I look at this daily. This is my job, to better understand who's selling daily and who's buying. So, I blocked all these names intentionally, but through systems that we have, we know the trends. So when there's concern about, hey, there's dilution, or there's concern about selling or shorting, we know, we're on top of it, and we're doing everything that we can to kind of monitor what's happening to ensure our shareholder value. And one thing I want to touch on that came up, well, why aren't you guys responding to us? Well, we know who you are. So if we're getting fake emails or fake names with, questions, I know who I'm talking to. So if you want to learn from us and communicate with us, send us a legit email through IR@XCPNL, and we'll answer your questions. We have no problems with transparency, because again, we know who our shareholders are, we know who our buyers are, we know who our sellers are, we know these trends, and we understand what's happening on a daily basis. Same thing with top shareholders. One, those of you who have stuck with us for the last 8 months, we thank you, because you understand the value and the long-term benefits of working with XCPNL and being a partner. So again, we're on top of it. Love to hear from you. We know who you are. And again, we appreciate you staying with us for the long haul. But again, these are things that we do to ensure that we're on top of understanding trends and insights with our shareholders and the value that you guys provide as shareholders. Wins for 2022. Increased client revenue. We brought on clients with our fast-moving CPG strategies and marketing services. Convertible notes. We retired those convertible notes, as you probably noticed by looking at our quarterly reports and our annual reports. And we also reduced the liabilities based on the revenue that we generated. Authorized share reduction. We went from $1 billion to $750 million, which was something that we talked about through our press releases. And lastly, reverse merger with Tenement Capital and Xerxes and Arms as the first stage within that reverse merger. One thing, an item that came up was, how does this reverse merger affect XCPNL, and is it legitimate? So what I wanted to show is, here is Tenement Capital Holdings, here's the valuation, here's an opinion letter, and by the way, Michael Brown really is a human being, as you can see by the opinion letter, that shows here's the enterprise valuation of Tenement Capital Holdings, here's an opinion letter that validates this valuation. As you can see on the right, when we say, hey, this company is valued at $34 million, you understand this is the enterprise value. So again, this is valid documentation that shows that this company is worth $34 million. We have to transition, because remember, the market cap is based on the shares, not on the valuation of the business. So as we move forward, we're hoping the shareholder value increases, knowing that we do have a company that we reverse merged into that has a valuation of $34 million. But for those out there that have been asking these questions, because again, I've said, we hear you. We want to answer your questions. Here's the basis of that $34 million valuation, the enterprise valuation of Sentiment Capital. Challenges, as I said in the first slide, hey, we've been beat up a little bit. So we wanted to just talk through the challenges that we have. Loss in shareholder value, as you guys have seen it. We're working our best to stop the panic selling, stop the toxic lending, to stop the variables that have caused our loss in shareholder value. A piece of that too is our shareholders believing in what we have and holding on to those shares and not panic selling to ensure that we all win. Toxic lending. Through the Reg A, there's been some toxic lending. There have been convertible notes. As we talked about, we cleaned up the convertible notes. We removed the toxic lenders as partners. So we're moving forward with being positive in how we raise capital. Because again, we have to raise capital to be able to invest in projects to drive revenue. One, they all go hand in hand, but if we remove the toxic lending, that removes the assumed dilution and how, the stock fluctuates back and forth. Share dilution. This is a big issue that we've addressed, but just remember, this is a long-term. This is not short-term. This is a long-term play. And we're looking for long-term partners. Yes, we have the peaks and valleys. Yes, there's been some dilution. There may be more dilution, but in the end, that stock's going to rise because of the investment that we take in. We drive revenue, market cap increases, you guys become excited. And those that stick with the long haul, there's a win when it comes to that shareholder value increasing. You just have to be patient and think of this as a long-term partnership versus a quick win. Market makers, they're the biggest teasers. If you look at the market makers, they have their algorithms and they have more money than we have. So they're capable of kind of manipulating the shares, as you guys are aware, and the share price, and it creates panic. So just, again, partners are what we're looking for to ensure shareholder value increases, allow us to build revenue, allow us to do our M&As, our reverse mergers, to make sure that we have a revenue driving business. But again, that takes time. This is not a sprint, it's a marathon, and we need you guys to believe in us. Then short selling, this has been a factor too. It all goes hand in hand. The toxic lending, the dilution, the market makers, and the short selling, all of these factor in. But if we're a team and we look at this as a long-term partnership, we can defend against all four of these: the dilution, the toxic lending, the market makers, and the short selling. You just have to believe in what we're bringing to the table. A big challenge that we're facing is the misconception and misinformation that is on Twitter. Stop believing it. If you have true questions, ask us the questions. We run into a lot of this daily, and it's very time consuming, and a lot of it's not accurate. So please, just, again, if you believe in the stock and you believe in the company, let's stay partners. Let's stay partners long term, and let's not let this noise out here on Twitter affect the decision making that happens when you believe in the company and you trust the company. Where do we go from here? We're looking for long-term partners, and there's a saying that basically says, if you live long enough, you become a villain. I was going to believe this in the OTC. If you're in the OTC long enough, you look like a villain. Look at Twitter. Look at all these misconceptions. We're here to create value for shareholders long term. And if you're a believer and you believe in what we bring to the table, if you believe in this in sentiment, if you believe in technology, if you believe in Web 3.0, you should believe in XCPL and what we're looking to do down the road. We just need to time the runway and not all this misinformation that's out there. So what are our short-term goals? Product commercialization via this reverse merger. There's technology through Xerxes, there's technology through ARMS that we will commercialize to be able to drive revenue, true revenue, and create shareholder value for our clients. One thing that we've misstepped is communicating to our shareholders frequently. Now that we're post-merger, we owe our shareholders weekly communication. So one thing that I'm going to press my team on is helping you guys understand what Xerxes is, what Settlement Capital is, what ARMS is, what products that we have, how we're going to commercialize those, and giving our shareholders more communication to better understand where we sit versus you guys having to guess or second guess what we're doing with the reverse merger and the company. $5 million line of credit. Once we are SEC compliant, because right now we're alternative reporting, we're able to get this $5 million ELOC to be able to help commercialize these products, which means less dilution, and we work on the line of credit to help drive that revenue. Securitas, everyone's asking about Securitas. We're still working with Securitas to create Metaverse and leveraging Xerxes and ARMS to design the crypto trading platform in Africa. So between the commercialization of these Settlement Capital products with our partnership with Securities, there's an opportunity to drive revenue and get to that market cap that we originally talked about back in January. But again, this is a marathon, not a sprint. So we need patience and long-term partners to help build that shareholder value. Long-term goals, driving revenue. We're looking to, again, increase revenue, increase shareholder value, but again, that's a trajectory that takes time. Also, being able to become a SEC reporting company, we're going through the process of the audit to be able to become compliant, do the SEC reporting, and then hope that will give us additional credibility with you to ensure that we are reporting on time, compliant, and we're following SEC regulations. With that being said, I will now open the floor for questions.
Thank you, Tim. Okay, let's jump in. We have a question from Aviv. Is there any estimated time for the name change and ticker change? Just explain that again, please.
Yeah, that is a FINRA challenge. So FINRA is super slow. We can put, we've talked about what the name change is going to be, the ticker symbol, going through the process of the application. It could take 2 months. It could take 6 months. We're at the mercy of FINRA when it comes to that. And as you know, via COVID, everything's moving slower. So I can't give you an estimate, but we are working towards that process, and we are at the mercy of FINRA when it comes to being able to finalize that.
All right. He also wants to know, is there any possible solution for the dilution in the stock? Just reiterate what the points you made earlier.
The solution is punching our way out. So while as a company that is OTC Pink, revenue's revenue, but you have to increase your market cap. You have to create value. You have to drive revenue, and you have to invest probably more than you make, especially in OTC Pink. So to answer your question, at some point, you're going to hit a trajectory where there is no more dilution. And also, you're going to punch your way through to where your share value offsets the dilution. again, we have to stay away from the panic selling because we'll never get there. Again, that's why I go back to long-term partners versus short-term. I'll be quite honest. If you're looking for a short-term value, don't invest in my company because you're going to be very disappointed and the Twitter fingers will go crazy. So if you're looking for a long-term partner, we're the right ones. If you want some short-term money, don't waste your time.
Aviv also wants to know if they can expect more acquisitions in the future.
Acquisitions are a function of capital raise and having capital available. Yes, but that brings dilution. So it's very hard to make everyone happy. Yes, the mergers and acquisitions win. Revenue increases. Shareholder value increases. Excitement about the company increases. But on the other hand, there is dilution involved because we have to find the capital to invest to acquire these companies. So yes, but you may not be happy about how we do it.
Okay. Thank you for that. Joshua Padilla asks, can we expect an official 8K filing and details on the reverse merger of Sentiment Capital subsidiaries? And if an 8K will not be filed, will you give an update another way?
Yes. We don't have to do an 8K. I think that's a misconception because we're not SEC reporting. We will be doing a supplemental through OTC, but again, we're looking at misconceptions. We don't have to do an 8K. We're not SEC reporting. I'd love to, but there are steps we have to take through EDGAR to be able to have certain codes to do an 8K. And we're not there yet because we're a pink sheet and there's just some documents that we're going through that need to be filled out to be able to do the 8K. So the short answer is no, we cannot do an 8K. No, we don't have to do an 8K. I know it adds to credibility, but again, that's a misconception. But once we're SEC reporting, you will see 8Ks. For now, we're going to do the supplemental through OTC, which is the equivalent of an 8K.
Thank you. Leo Holland is new to your company and wants to know how you're getting your clients and what do you expect your growth rate to be?
Clients are I came from a marketing background. So I have a network that is interested in working with us. So those clients come from the network. We do good work. We get more revenue. So it's almost like starting from the bottom because I've taken projects that we've done in the past, brought them to exceptional, and it's just been a slow build. So the short answer is from my previous network, from my previous life.
Okay. John M. says, thank you for sharing the 34 million valuation. Do you have any idea how many shares will be outstanding by the end of 2022? And do you have a forecast on how many you will have to issue during 2023?
I can't answer either one of those because it is a function of how much capital that we need. And it's also a function of the existing share price. I can tell you this, we'll never, I'm knocking on wood, go over the authorized shares because that's not how we operate. So I try to operate within the confines of, I know we need X amount to do this acquisition. Our share price is at Y. So without having too much dilution, how do we get there? So that's a very difficult forecast. Now, I don't want to give you an evasive answer, but just know that it'll never be over the authorized shares, our authorized share structure.
Okay. Jane Francis says, now she's understanding the stock situation, so thank you. Can you also talk about your verticals for revenue and how you're going to grow them?
Yes. So on the tech side, and I don't know if you saw our first presentation, we had our sizzle, which was our tech, and then we had our foundation, which was marketing services. So the objective to build a marketing services platform, which is consumer activation, retail programs, helping fast-moving CPGs like a Heinz ketchup or Kitty, which is an alarm system. They want to do demos in retail stores. So we're doing more demos and increasing that bandwidth with these clients to increase revenue on the marketing services side. On the tech side, that is a function of licensing, developing products, and just getting more eyeballs on the tech stacks. So while we're on the marketing services side, building the retail programs, we're building the Cinnamon Capital tech platforms to entice consumers to get licenses. So the more licenses that we sell, the more consumers that we have using our crypto trading platform, the more revenue that we have. And then we create different variations of it. So we have the Securitas platform that we're doing in Africa. So we have consumers that sign up for licensings for that. The same thing in the US and the same thing in Europe. But we have to continue building these platforms and customize them based on the governing bodies within each one of these countries. On the marketing side, it's a lot easier. We pitch to Fortune 500 companies. We leverage our minority status. We do good work. We have great case studies, and we get more business. So the objective is to increase more licenses with the crypto platform and more clients to do customer activation. And we just do a stair step to generate revenue from those two verticals. And then, any other mergers and acquisitions on the tech side, we basically, because our objective is, let's find companies that need our help, that need marketing help to help build and investment to build their platforms and market those platforms to consumers. And let's get consumers to buy and buy more. Same thing on the other side for retail. We have clients that have products that need to move and have higher velocity in stores. So let's get them to buy and buy more. And then everyone on both sides invest more in our partnership. Hope that makes sense.
Great answer. Yes. Joel Gordon asks, you talked about SEC compliance. Are you currently audited? And if so, who's your auditor?
I think we answered that saying that we are looking to get audited so that we can become SEC compliant. We've reached out to 2 auditing firms. We're waiting for the quote, but that's a 2 to 3 month process. So, and don't quote me on this, by the end of the year, hopefully we should be compliant through the audit. And I'm just giving it a 3-month window to where we can file the 8Ks and other documents that give us that credibility and potential uplift from OTC Pink to OTC QB and then QX. Great.
James Stephen asks if you can explain any plans you have for uplisting in long-term plans. Talk about the long-term when it comes to uplisting.
I think we just touched on that. Part of it's audit first. And then the other part, once you're audited and you're SEC compliant, then it is getting 2 board members who are not part of your organization to come in. And then you have to be over a penny, I think. Don't quote me on that. But that is the goal. We have to first do the audit, check in the box. After the audit, ensure we have the 2 board members. And then after that, ensure that the shareholder value is above a penny.
Wonderful. Thank you. Judy Garrett has, I'm just going to read exactly what Judy's saying. She's first saying, thank you for being crystal clear on the stock. And she appreciates you using the word toxic. It's eye-opening to see a CEO being so honest. Judy would also like to ask you if you would consider a potential share dividend for shareholders of a certain date, maybe just prior to dilution ending, as a reward for sticking with the company in these times. This may also boost support in the company.
Her name is Judy, right?
Yes.
Okay, Judy, I'll be quite honest. I'm new to OTC. I'm new to the public side. On the private sector, I understood dividends. this is a great idea and something that I'd like to talk to my SEC attorney about and other team members that are more familiar with how public companies do dividends. I have no clue. I'll be quite honest. I don't know, but I would do my best because that's a great idea. And I want to explore that. I don't know how it works, and I apologize, but that's something I never really thought of that would be a great incentive for what I asked for, which was, hey, I want long-term partners. Well, shit, I'm sorry. I apologize for that. That is a great idea. You guys should have an incentive for the long haul. So I promise you I will take a look at that because, again, I'm not skilled at understanding the dividend piece. So I will explore that, and hopefully we have your information to where I can reach out to you with an answer. So thank you, Judy.
Great. Yes, we will give that to you. All right, Tim, do you have any closing remarks?
No, this was great. And guys, I appreciate you taking the time to ask your questions. I hope that I've come across transparent and honest, because I am. And I know, again, I go back to the Twitter fingers. It's painful sometimes to listen to some of the things that are happening or being said that are untrue. And, I am human, and, it gets a little touchy. So we're here, we're growing, we're looking for long-term partners. And again, I appreciate your time.
Wonderful. Great job, Tim. Thank you so much for joining us. And please come back with some of your updates.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, everyone, stay with us. We're going to transition to the next presenter. We'll be right back.